All right, so guys, those of you that are connected with us today, I think we have about 21 people. We might have some people also on the live Facebook and in Instagram. But those of you that are connected on Facebook or Instagram, just know that we do have this presentation. If you go to brokernation.events, all the trainings, all the presentations are there for you to join and be part of this. Today is Real Estate Friday, which I'm going to be sharing with you some information that I just got from NAR. As it's pretty much if you can see it here on my screen, it's a NAR flash survey, economic pulse, and that's the information that goes to April 5 to 6. The interesting part of it is that it's like a survey that they did based on everybody's activities. And the point of this is for us to know how's the market, and if we can see any gap in there that we can fill in to help us excel and to help us do better as agents, and what can we implement by knowing what's going on. And not only from agents that are reporting this activity back to NAR, but also from landlords, property managers, lenders, and it goes from residential real estate and commercial real estate. So I'm gonna send you guys through the chat this information so you can have it too. You can analyze it, go through it, and if you see anything that you can implement that will benefit you, please feel free to do so. It's very, very, very interesting. I'm gonna go ahead and copy the link of this, and then I'll send it through the chat. That way everybody gets it at the end of this training. But if I scroll down to the information, and I'm gonna be reading it also, and so everybody can understand the graphs and the numbers and the percentages and all that stuff. And if you have any questions, please feel free to jump in and ask at any time. Again, for those who are connected with us on Facebook and Instagram, you can still be part of this. It's not too late. If you go to brokernation.event, if you register, we'll send you the link right away, and then you also get part of this PDF. So going back here to residential survey questions that were asked. If you see here, sellers reduce listing price. That's the topic of this slide. And the question is, have any of your home sellers recently reduced price to attract buyers? And then it shows you here a graph of activities and what happened in the last few days, especially up to April, a week ago, April 6th. April 6th was on Monday, so April 5 and 6. So we're getting the fresh information. So if you look at the graphic, pretty much what it's saying is that those that are currently working with sellers, it says that 72% said that no sellers have reduced the price to attract buyers. They haven't reduced the price. 16%, if you see the green, it says that reported that sales prices, they reduce the price by 5% or less. Only 2% reported 15% or more. So that's something that gives us an insight, and hopefully it gives you an insight to you too, as far as listings and how sellers, if they're reducing the prices or not to attract buyers. 72% says that they haven't, and they haven't had any issues on that as far as reduction. And on the bottom page, you can see what the colors, each color means. So the light blue one, the top one, the 72% said no, have not lowered price. The dark blue, it says yes, by 5 to 10%. So you can go ahead and use this as reference. So that's the information on sellers reducing the listing price. Tenants, are tenants paying rent or not? So here's the graph for the tenants. So of those who work with residential tenants, if you're doing rentals, 1/3 of property managers cited that they're having no issues with their tenants paying the rent, compared to more than half of individual landlords. Now you have information from property managers, as you can see in the graph, and you have information on individual landlords. So you're getting on both sides. The interesting part here is that on the individual landlords, right, they're reporting that they're having no issues, and that's 56%. On the property manager, it declined a little bit. Now you got to understand why. So that goes a lot on your negotiating power. So if you have negotiating power, obviously a landlord can accommodate a lot more tenants. Sometimes the landlord, individual landlords are not pricing their property way over market value, but they're just right where they need to be able to accommodate the tenant better, and you get tenants that are more willing to pay rent versus tenants dealing with a company per se, and we don't know the negotiating power that they have. So going back here to the graph, we can see that 46% of property managers reported being able to accommodate their tenants who cannot pay rent, and 21% cited have been difficult. In contrast, 27% of individual landlords reported being able to accommodate their tenants who cannot pay rent, and 21% cited it been difficult. So a very small portion, it means less than 10% of property managers, individual landlords, reported tenant terminating their lease. So how many people are actually living, like not want to continue? And I think this was one of the questions that we had on Wednesday in our weekly meeting. We had a case of somebody that wanted to terminate the lease, and I think it was because they were buying a property or whatever the scenario might have been. So it's a very small percentage. So the chances of you running through something like that is not going to be a whole lot, but you need to know what to do. So this is the information that you need to play with, the numbers, the percentages, the graphs, so you know what to do and how to respond and how to act. And perhaps you can go after this landlords or property managers to see if you're getting a lot of vacancies because of that, people living or people not paying rent, and perhaps you can come in and provide some kind of services that you can help them. So once again, the information here, what the color means on that. Again, if you have any questions, something comes up, please feel free to jump back in, stop me, and then I'll answer any questions you may have. Social distancing. Now, this is a question that I have for you. Have any of you been having issues with social distancing and showing the properties? All right, I guess not. So that's a good thing. So what is the market telling us? Okay, the question for the market was, how will you assess social distancing guidance and real estate transactions, especially with more use of virtual tours, electronic signatures, exterior only, and home appraisals? So this is really, I found this. Hey, how are you?
Jose Nino said yes on the chat.
Okay, I'm not reading the chat, so please feel free to jump in. Or if somebody can read the chat, Stevie, you can read the chat.
Not a problem. Good morning, everybody.
Hey, Nino, what's up, man?
Hey, very good. Yeah, I did get a couple of requests to show some properties, and the listing agent replied back and said that at that time there's owners living in the property. They don't want to show it at this time. So it's those kind of things that they don't feel like showing the properties right now.
I have the
so
same
I asked him.
Situation. I barely can get brokers to answer their phone, and then it's always, no, they rented it out, maybe next month. And I have buyers who are chomping at the bit to buy a home in South Miami, and I cannot get in.
Yeah, they're not cooperative. I mean, I understand that if there's the owner occupied, they don't want to have that traffic in there, so they're just asking for us to, show the pictures, and if they want to continue, make an offer, and then after the inspections, then they will, show it to us. But that's an issue that I've been having this week.
Okay.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, good afternoon.
Anybody?
What's going on, Brian?
Yeah, like last Saturday, I had a buyer and the seller showed the property and they walked out of the house. It was a Keller Williams group, and they had 3 offers on a property, and thank God on Sunday they took my full price offer. But those lower price homes, those are $280,000 property, we came in at full price. But those are the ones I think that are going to be selling quicker than anything else.
Yeah.
But again, that realtor wasn't there. It was a Keller Williams team from Coral Springs. The sellers were home, and they walked out of the house and they let us walk in and do what we had to do.
Yeah.
How can we get brokers to cooperate? Well, obviously, we have certain, procedures in place that we can use, but if they really don't want to pick up the phone and they really don't want to deal with it, how can we make it happen? Is anyone using letters of intent to try to tie up a property for their buyers?
For like a residential property?
Yes.
For residential property, I don't really use letters of intent, but I do try to negotiate. So that just means that we have to level up our negotiating skills to be able to get them to understand their point of view. So at the end of the day, it's all about safety and how the listing or how the owner, in this case the seller, feels about showing it. If you have any listings right now, the best thing would be to communicate with your seller and if they're in the same position that they don't want to be showing the property, perhaps you can come up with a solution to that. And we're gonna go over some ideas, some stuff that people are doing, and we have talked about this before. But maybe finding out a way of people getting in there and showing the property. It's gonna be a little bit difficult. Those sellers are a little in the fence about doing that and not letting you, because I have a few like that, and they're elderly, so obviously they definitely don't want to show the house.
Dylan, in that
Especially if it's tenant occupied also, like I have one.
Yeah. But tenants, it's going back to the seller. So you want to negotiate with the seller, and then between you and the seller, can negotiate something with the tenant.
But Dylan, that's my question. I'm representing a buyer, and we know that we love this house, but we haven't been in this house. So I'm really hesitant to tell them, let's just put in an offer and then we'll get contingent on us seeing it next month. But I'm just hesitant to tell my buyers to do that. And yet I might be wasting a whole month not showing them something else because we think this is the right house. So what's a workaround?
Okay, and you could do that. That's a good idea. You can present an offer contingent on that. It's not tying you entirely to the property, and still being able to show other homes, considering that if the other homes are allowing you to show it, and this is the one that they like, at least you have something that they have something also in their hands. And maybe you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You don't know if they're going to change their mind tomorrow. And maybe they're open to go ahead and show it finally because now they have an offer in their hands. You might want to try that with those contingencies.
It's hard to tell my buyers what offer to make when I also have not been inside the house. I've only seen, the photos that they've seen.
Can you ask the listing agent to send a live video of the property? Perhaps they can have the seller or whoever is occupying the property to do a live video of the property. It might give you
I've tried, but they're not open to dealing with anything right now. And it's two brokers on the listing side, and neither one of them is interested in working right now.
So, okay, so you're telling me the live video, it's out of the questions. They're not willing to cooperate. Have you talked to them and say, if I send you an offer, what will be the options for me? I don't want to, the same thing you're asking me. Have you talked to them and say, if I send you an offer, what will be my options? Because I don't want to waste time either.
Right. They don't seem to have any answers. So I think I'm going to be making my own decision on this. I don't think that I'm going to get a video tour out of anybody. I have the photos. I know my client's situation. So, I think that unless somebody has another idea about it, I've kind of hit a wall. I've made many phone calls and friendly, conversations, but I can barely get these people to, deal with anything. There's a lot of realtors right now who are not working.
Who's the gatekeeper?
Well, the owners are not there. They rented out the house for a month, supposedly. So there's tenants in place, and then there's two realtors on the listing side. One I've been able to have conversations with, one I have not been able to hear back from.
So the gatekeeper then is the realtors. They're the one not cooperating in this transaction.
Right.
Yeah, that's a tough one then, because you can try anything you want, but if the realtors are not doing their part, there's no guideline as to that they cannot show the property, only going by safety. And if the tenant is in there, but you have no communication, you cannot have any communication with the tenant, or you don't have any instructions, it's hard to tell. Have you tried calling maybe the listing office?
No, I sort of don't want to create problems for other realtors right now because, I don't know their situation. It just sounds like they don't really want to work right now. But again, I don't want to create a problem before I've gotten into a negotiation with a realtor partner.
Okay. Have you asked them about, I'm asking all these questions because, there has to be a solution.
Yeah.
Have you talked to them about sending an offer?
No, I haven't directly said that because I'm hesitant to show so much interest before I even know what the right offer should be. They did let me know finally yesterday in a conversation that there had been an offer that was a low offer, but of course I don't know what that is. I can come up with some sort of offer and tell them, look, I might be sending you an offer but is there any chance, to get me a virtual tour, just a quickie out of the phone of the tenants and see if they're willing to do that? It just seems like they're not really willing to work right now or contact anyone. I haven't had any feedback from the owners themselves. Yesterday they said, well, they're hard to reach. So I don't really know the whole story there.
Got it. All right. So it sounds like the communication on the other side is not really helpful. So with them, unless you don't present an offer or you don't want to go in there because of your, you haven't seen it, so you don't know a lot. So you might have to go blindly going by whatever the market value is,
Right.
you think it is, and based on that offer. Again, you can always send an offer contingent on seeing the property and negotiating the price based on that afterwards. You're not tying yourself up or your buyer to anything because you have contingencies in place. So that's just an idea. The good thing would be to open up the lines of communication with them if they decide to be helpful. But what is the market saying in regards to social distancing and transactions? Going back to the graphs, it's actually, if you notice here, it's actually 26% of members cited being able to complete nearly all aspects of transactions while respecting social distance, with minor modifications such as using masks, gloves. 34% cited felt like person-to-person interactions while still required, if it's better for them in the transaction. 17 said that postpone home searching, like in your case, that's what you're having. And 18% stated that the mandate of staying at home prevents them from completing transactions. So you got to see where you at and what is going on. So the graph says that 34% that some aspects still require person-to-person interactions through masks, gloves, who lessen the risk of spreading the virus. So if you still need to go out there, if you cannot present an offer contingent on seeing the property, seeing the condition of the property, if you feel like it's best for the buyer to be able to see the property first, a person to person, then make sure you're taking the right precautions. You're wearing your gloves, you're wearing your mask. If you have to do inspections or anything like that, walkthroughs, make sure you're taking all your stuff. And if you can if you have anything extra that you can perhaps supply it to your buyers, great, or make sure they bring their own supply. But if somebody allow you to go inside a home, make sure we are wearing those protections. All right, technology. This is the one that I found really, really interesting right now. So in technology, it says that members are using a number of technology tools to communicate with clients. Most often use technology to communicate with buyers. The most common tools or tech used are the e-signatures, social media, messaging apps, and virtual tools. Now, if you look here at the graphs, so live video, the green one is how many people are using it, or future clients, they're using it, 50%. If you look at the light blue one, do not use. So half of that are not using. Now this creates a gap. So you can compare that with everybody else throughout this gap. Look for example, what we're doing right now, those Zoom meetings or WebEx or any type of tool or technology that we're using to communicate, not only with us, with you guys, but you guys with other clients or the buyers or sellers doing presentations. How many people are not using it? It says 55% are using it. They haven't into this tool or technology. So that creates an opportunity for all of us. If other people are not doing it, that means that if we start implementing that in our business, imagine how much more business you might be able to get if you start implementing that in your business. Perhaps you can do first-time home buyer seminars through Zoom, or answer questions to buyers or sellers, or reaching out to the medical staff right now that are working. And perhaps you can put something together for the weekend and reach out to them and put a little chat that you can talk to them and do through a video conference call or something like that. Something that you can interact with possible prospects. Again, 55% are not using that. Buyers, 34% are using it. And 29% of sellers are using it. And future clients, 29%. Same thing goes with messaging app, virtual tools. That on buyers are using a lot of virtual tools. So you never know. That to me, it's a good, this is a good thing to know. 58% of buyers are using virtual tools. So what does that mean for us? So a lot of people, like I have some listings that I can't show it because the people that are living in the property, they're elderly and they don't want to show the property, understandable. But I'll have them do a live walkthrough of the property if I can, or I do have a virtual tour and done by pictures put together in a link in a video, or I had a company go out there and do the whole thing, or I can just have the seller or the tenant do a whole walkthrough and then we'll record that and then that's being shared to the buyers. The point is, make sure you're using all these tools available, especially now. You don't want to sit and not be able to continue moving that property. And that's aside from using social media, posting in Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. You put it in YouTube, make sure you type in the full address and a description of it, because that's going to be, that's going to come up also on Google search. So make sure you use that, and YouTube might be a good friend for you. So that's on technology tools. The next one will be buyer's interest. How many people are showing interest now in buying property? If you look here, it says 90% of members cited a decline on buyer's interest. 45% of members reported a decline by more than 50%. 8% of members cited no change in activity, and 2% cited an increase in activity. Now, 27% of those who work with buyers had at least one buyer who put in contract without physically seeing the home in the last week. And this, again, this was taken last week. So if you're working with different buyers at the same time, okay, the chances are that one of them, if not a couple, might be able to put in a contract just by seeing the property virtually, seeing it by a video, photo, just presenting the offer, and using perhaps contingencies, of course. But that was really interesting. 27% of those who work with buyers had at least one buyer who put in a contract without physically seeing the home in the last week. The median amount of homes toured, either virtually or in person, was three before putting a contract on a home. So here you can see the meaning of each color in that graph. Any questions so far? All right, so you might be getting a lot of those questions. What is going on with the market? You might be getting that a lot from buyers and sellers. In this case, we got this graph, buyers' expectation of home prices. Going back to the graph, it says 63% of members said buyers are expecting a decline in home prices. Of this share, 16% expect a less than 5% decrease, and the largest portion, 23%, expect a home decrease by 5 to 10%. Buyer's behavior. Again, you guys gonna get all this information. So I'm gonna post the link so you can have this. And the idea behind this, this graphs and information is for you to figure it out, okay? And find out where the gap is and how you can service this type of people, okay? In this one, buyer's reaction or behavior. It says 59% of members reported that buyers are delaying their home purchase for a couple of months. 13% reported members are continuing the process, but only relying on virtual communication. 13% reporting clients are deciding not to buy or sell indefinitely. 8% reported there is no change in client behavior and they continue to meet in person. Now, is that happening to you right now? Do you still have people that they're going out and about, they're still interested in buying? Or have you noticed more people like delaying the process, they're not interested in buying at this point? Anybody have
I think there are a lot of people delaying. I think that they're a little overwhelmed by their personal situations, by their instability, by their lack of knowledge of what's happening with their jobs or their paychecks or their loan applications. So I think that there is a lot of people, and we need to be cautious about how we approach people because we really don't know what their situation is and whether our information is welcome at this time. So I think it's just best practices to assume that they don't want to do things.
Yeah. So this one right here. It talks about the buyer's behavior. How about the seller's behavior? That's the next graph. And the question is, how has coronavirus or COVID-19 affected the number of homes in the market? Now, this graph is showing me that 80% of members, they said that they noticed a decline in the number of homes on the market. What does that mean? Inventory started to come down a little bit. Of this share, 32% reported a decline between 10% to 30%. 16% of members cited no change, and 4% cited an increase in the number of homes in the market. So if you go back to the graph, you got the ones that I'm interested in is this one right here. Decline by less than 10%, and no activity. 16% said that there's no change in activity. So although, yes, some people have decided not to sell for now, they might have said they're not selling indefinitely. So they might not be selling just for this time. So that's when we come in and we figured out, okay, well, how can I negotiate better with the seller to make sure they continue with the same behavior? If they're still interested in selling, how can I show them that this is the best time to sell? What information can I provide them? How can I continue having inventory to be able to sell? And how can I implement the tools and the systems to be able to promote that property even more and attract other buyers? So now you're going to be working with both the buyer behavior and the seller behavior and filling in that gap between the two. Seller behavior. A little bit more in this one is, have you seen any sellers remove their home from the market completely due to coronavirus? 50% said that yes, they removed their homes. Reason why? They don't want to show it. 26% says that no, and 19% they don't even know. So forget about the yellow. 56%, again, they said that yes, they removed the property. So again, that's bringing down a little bit of the inventory from the market. Now, what happens when you have inventory coming down and then buyers, or the amount of buyers that were actively seeking coming down too? Who knows? Who knows what happened? We have a decline on inventory and a decline on buyers. Well, that creates
something with rates, maybe?
Well, that definitely creates a negative impact on the market, but not necessarily on pricing. So that means that because of a COVID, all right, that prices, people are deciding, okay, I'm not going to sell for now. So inventory comes out. Inventory comes out, buyers decide not to buy, the amount of buyers come down as well. Now that creates a negative in the market, but that also creates an opportunity. So that opportunity that is creating, it relies on us, our realtors, us as agents and professionals, to make sure that we negotiate better with buyers and sellers, because it's limited, the amount of them that are actually going to take place. Now, I'm pretty sure a lot of you try to always have a pipeline full, right? And that's key in a good market, and even more important in a downturn market. Your pipeline, you have to focus on your pipeline, because when you're working with one buyer and that buyer decides, hey, because of this, I'm not gonna buy, that's it, right? You're gonna go into a panic mode, because now you don't have anything else going on right now. You're gonna have to deal not only with regular issues with buyers, sellers, but now you're gonna deal with somebody that's afraid because of the situation. That's totally understandable. But if you create that pipeline, and that's what we've been trying to do right now on Tuesdays and Thursdays with Steve, how to create that pipeline, how to use the tools in the system to make sure your pipeline grows, okay, automatically. When you have a pipeline full, you're not relying on just one person. You're not just dealing with one person's behavior, concerns, issues. Now you're dealing with a few more people. So if one transaction goes down for whatever reason, if you lose one listing, you're still in business, you're still working, because you have a lot of stuff lined up happening at the same time. And that should be our focus right now. How can I implement this in my business? How can I analyze this data to make sure that I can fill in the gap, put that information to work? How can I increase my pipeline right now? How can I implement the Zoom meetings, the WebEx, and talk to more people, be in front of people to make sure that my pipeline continues growing and have more people to deal with, more people to talk to, more people to train. And that way, if something happens with one transaction, it's okay. Don't panic. there's a lot more that we can concentrate on. So you're not gonna feel like you're hurt at one time. So concentrate on that. Dealing with people's behavior, as we know, it's not easy. But this data tells us exactly what is going on with our market, what is going on with our buyers and sellers, and now we know where to help the most. In this graph right here, it talks about in regards to the COVID-19, have you seen any of the following changes in home seller listings? So it talks here, residential members. So this one says no changes. It's a gray one, so 7%. The blue one says stop open houses. Has it affect them personally? Yeah, open houses, we cannot do open houses at the moment. The blue one, 48%. Buyers need to use hand sanitizers, hand wash, again, just using protection. 41% will not allow buyers in with shoes, need to wear footings. 43% restrict listing presentations. 37% buyers required to wear gloves. And 5% obtain home inspection before listing home for sale. That's a good point too, obtaining home inspections before listing the home too. If, let's see, video. Elaine, going back to what we were talking about. If you look at some homes, like if some of us, like for example, in your example that you were talking about, that there's no communication with this person, an idea would be if, and this is for people that are maybe getting listings and stuff like that right now, being proactive. And I think it would have been a lot easier if maybe there's listings that they cannot be shown. We can suggest maybe the listing agent that perhaps doing a home inspection prior, it would help in putting up the offer, because now you know, or it might give the buyer a better idea of the condition of the property as it is, your research on the market and how the property value might be, and then everything else will be contingent on the physically seeing the property. So 5%, it says obtain home inspections. There's very little people doing that, but this definitely could be a good idea to implement, or suggest listing agents to do that. That way it will be better for buyer's agent to present that to the buyers, and maybe they can, they're more open to put an offer without actually physically seeing the property. Any thoughts on that? Good crowd. All right, and residential closings delays. Are any of you having any delays right now or experiencing any delays on your closings?
And you guys might have to unmute yourself if you, everybody's usually muted while Daylon is talking. So feel free to just unmute yourself and chime in.
Yes, please. All right, so residential closings delay. It says that 34% of residential members have reported no closing delays. Delays in closing happen for a number of reasons, including delays with appraisals, financing, home inspections, in-person signature, final walkthroughs, and title searches. So again, here's the graph, delays, no delays, everything, it all depends on a number of reasons like the graph is explaining. Let me see. All right, and this is the commercial side. I'm not gonna go too much on the commercial side right now. I wanted to focus on the residential because that's what most of you concentrate on. The last question here that was asked is, in general, how has the COVID-19 changed clients' attitude with regards to selling a home? It says 57% of members reported sellers are delaying their home sale for a couple of months. 17% reported members are continuing the process, but only relying on virtual communication. 10% reporting clients are deciding not to buy or sell indefinitely. 8% reported there is no change in client behavior, and they continue to meet in person. Now, that's their very minimum one. Now, this is going back to the power of negotiating. If I'm working with a lot of buyers, and obviously I'm pretty sure most of you are doing that, try to look for properties that are vacant, possibly. If properties are vacant, obviously that's gonna help showing the home better. If plan B would be then to show them properties are or occupying. But if we can kind of like focus on finding homes that are vacant, easy to show, that will help us to continue moving forward. Now, if we got to show the ones that are occupied, we can give them a list of um, protections that we're using. If we're wearing gloves, my buyers are wearing gloves, we're doing this, and you can kind of like send them an email or text message, this, we're taking this precautions, and let them know that you're aware of what's going on, but you still want to move forward. And again, something like Elaine was saying, if the communication is not open with the listing agent and yourselves, everything is lost. They're the gatekeeper at this time. And that goes vice versa. If you're the listing agent, try to negotiate with the seller and see how can you improve the showing process, and that way the property doesn't sit there for months. This is the number that we will need to be. Again, these numbers are telling us something. These graphs are talking to us. So what are they saying, and how can we change the trend to our benefit? What are the opportunities? These are the questions that you need to ask yourself. Has anybody been experiencing anything other than different, or any issues with your transactions other than what we have seen in this graph that you might want to share? Is anyone doing something different to continue getting more clients? Let me go ahead and copy this.
I just wanted to say, Daylon, that I've been talking to a lot of the agents. I've had a few, I don't want to name any names, but one in particular told me that she was very busy right now and had listings, buyers interested, and even a couple of commercial transactions. And I've been hearing about people that have listings that need to get it on the other side. Elaine, are looking for buyers. So I've talked to them about creating landing pages and doing some campaigns to get the word out so that people know that there are still listings available for buyers, maybe from New York or from outside the area, that are still looking to invest or buy right now. And then the other thing is I'm hearing a lot of activity about renters. Is another thing. People that still maybe are caught in between and need to rent something, and that's sort of a short-term thing that might be interesting to a lot of realtors right now.
Absolutely. The way I see it right now, that's all I see. Opportunity for in every aspect of the business. On personal, at a personal aspect, as you as a professional, as a business owner, you have the opportunity to create your brand right now, this is the time to expand that brand. And how do you do that? Just like Steve was saying, by creating your brand, letting people know what you're doing. If you have listings, like Elaine, if you have listings, make sure you're sharing that listing. Let people know that you have them. How do you do that? Well, by implementing the tools, the landing pages, the social media, the videos. Perhaps you can do a video and then do, I forgot how you say that. When you do a video, you do a voiceover, and then make sure that, you can give the tour virtually. And as the graphs were showing, people are open to perhaps putting an offer just based on looking at a virtual video of the property, a virtual tour. So those are tools that you can implement. And right now we have the time to do that.
What do you think is the best way for us to get those virtual tours out? I mean, whatever I have virtual tours on Facebook or some other social media. But as far as a more direct approach or a more effective approach, what do you recommend?
Steve, do you have any answer for that?
Yes, Elaine, I would say that, the same rules still apply that I used to talk about in the lead generation and some of the classes, where you start with your audience and you work your way backwards. So if you have a property that you're listing right now, let's say, you should have a good idea of who your buyers should be, who your most likely buyers should be. And I would start with that universe of people and then work backwards. Is it high net worth individuals that might be outside the area in New York, let's say, or in Texas or Connecticut or LA? Is it people on the other side of town in Miami looking to just get a single family home? Is it investors? All of those would go into the mix of where I would go and go build awareness in those communities. And you can do that. For example, if you're looking for investors, one of the best places is LinkedIn. They're all on LinkedIn, very high-end executive types and investor types and business people. Single families, of course, they're all on Facebook, and Facebook has really, really good targeting where you could dig out the targeting there, both organically and with paid ads too. So I would say do what we always do, start with the audience and work your way backwards. There's tons of tools right now to go and find people online, and everything we've been talking about for the last year and a half is really, even more important now. The video that I've been talking about for so long, reaching people online. Now it's imperative that that's almost the only way to go and reach people now. So if you have any further questions about that, Elaine, feel free to reach out to me and email me, steve@brokernation.net. And I want to remind everyone too, segues into the next thing I wanted to say is that next week we are rebooting our training, excuse me, our online training with the Chime training, but also lead generation and social media. We're going to be talking about what was just touched on there. What's the best social media platform for what I'm trying to do, and how do I do it? And especially video. How do I've been talking for a long time about making video, how everyone can do it with their phone. We're doing it right now. And how to make some video content, and then how to put it out there to the world through these online channels and social media channels. So stay tuned to brokernation.events, www.brokernation.events. That's where I post everything of what we're doing. And we have something going on almost every day. Not almost every day. We got something going on online. So make sure you stay on top of that.
All right. Any other questions? Do we have any lender connected with us today? They were connected with us.
It looks like we don't, but I wanted to say one more thing about that too, Daylon. That has been a very good source of information. I've worked with or heard from a few other realtors that have put together some Zoom meetings like this where they brought together lenders that had some very good information, updated information, what's going on in the lending space, but also what's going on, for them in particular, that they might have some connections or some avenues and choices. So I would definitely recommend what you said, reach out to your lenders. Now is the time to, and maybe partner with your lender to put together one of these, virtual events that you could do that we used to do on like a Saturday or something like that. I worked with a few realtors. Now you can do it pretty much any day of the week, and you can do it virtually.
Yeah, 100%. It's very good and very important for everybody to be connected with the title company, the lender, all the professionals that you use the most. Now is very good time to do that. You want to be fast. You want to have the latest information in your hands, and you want to be able to communicate that as often as you can to as many people as you can. And those are your buyers, your sellers. Make sure you're informing them constantly. I'm going to say this, I'll say this 100 times. Make the calls, right? This is the time to go back to the phone and call people, right? Come with make yourself a goal and make sure you're reaching out to these people and you're calling constantly. I've been able to get, for the past few weeks, I have a lot of buyers lined up. My focus has been a little bit of what's selling faster. If you, I don't know if some of you have tried selling perhaps brand new construction. They're doing everything they can to move their inventory, and they have unbranded information. They have tour videos. They have everything, and then you can start posting that as well and using their information to reach out to more people if you can. So that's a way of you having them do the entire transaction, and it's an opportunity to find perhaps sellers that this is a good opportunity for them to go ahead and sell the property now and maybe get into another property. So simplifying or maybe upgrading on their home situation. So just make sure you come across and you put all this information together. Use the tools that we're providing you. Make sure you're contacting the lender. You have communication with them. Know the rates and know the entire process. How to pre-qualify people to make sure that they can buy right now, or where in the pipeline are you going to put them in, and put a system in place so they know they're coming, and eventually they'll be ready, willing and able to buy. So make sure you're using this time to implement everything that we're teaching you, all these tools, and you can get the same information that I shared with you today from NAR directly. So make sure you have some information of this, and you can create a small presentation to buyers and sellers, and it's like, here, this is the information you have. Where are you standing today, and how can I help, and how can I be of service? Does anybody have any other information or question or ideas that you might want to share with all of us? Please feel free to do that. If not, let me know. Reach out to Steve, Armando, or myself, and we're more than happy to help anybody out if you're having any issues with transactions. This is Real Estate Friday. We're here for you specifically for that, to keep you up to date of what's going on and to be engaged with you guys and help you in whatever you need. If you guys don't have any questions, this was it. This was the presentation for Real Estate Friday. Invite other friends, other realtors. Remember, you can be part of the revenue sharing program. And a lot of agents, as you can see, a lot of companies, a lot of people are not using the Zoom meetings, are not engaged with their people, and they might be open to learning. And we all want to teach right now. We want to help other agents, especially in this downturn market. So make sure you reach out to them. Just send them the link and have them join us. BrokerNation.events. That's the website to join. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you enjoy your Friday. Have a good weekend, and please stay safe.
Yeah, and Daylon, I just wanted to remind everyone that Monday is Mindset Monday, so make sure you guys sign up for that. Daylon, if you guys don't know, Daylon came up in 2008, Daylon, after the last housing crisis, and has a lot of experience and a lot of insight on strategies that you can use in a down market, as you know from listening to him here. So he's got some really good stuff, and we are going to do Mindset Monday for the next foreseeable Mondays also. So make sure you guys sign up for that and join us on Monday morning, right, Daylon? Monday morning at 10.
Monday morning, Monday at 10.
Yeah.
Monday mornings at 10. Real Estate Fridays at 1. Tuesdays and Thursdays, we're having the meeting with Steve. He's gonna helping us, and now he's gonna implement the lead generation, which is amazing. And we wanna make sure we take advantage of that. So stay tuned with us, engage with us, and make sure you invite others that wanna learn the same thing.
And our company-wide monthly meeting is now weekly on Wednesdays, weekly Wednesdays for all Broker Nation agents.
All right. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Steve. Enjoy your day, guys.
Okay, thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye, everybody.